how I got into the industry and how I ended up in nutrition, I don't think that people actually come into the industry and go, "Oh, I want to be a nutritionist." I think a lot of the time when you're younger, you come in, you want to be a coach, you want to be a personal trainer. That's kind of like the standard way into the industry. And I think a lot of coaches, as they get older, as they start to find a passion for what they truly like, I think that's when they start to branch off and go into different areas. And that's certainly what happened with me when I went through the industry on my way to become a nutritionist. Where it started with me, I was always, as a kid, always active, always played football. Then I got to like the age of 11 and I started amateur boxing. So straight away getting into amateur boxing, I was weight making from an early age. So I was making like, I remember on my first fight, like 45 kilos. So I was always making weight. And again, I didn't really know what that was back then. It was just going to be this way. So yeah, you just do your best you could to get to the weight you were wanting to get to. Those are things we did back in that day. There wasn't the sports science there was now. There wasn't the nutrition knowledge that there is now readily available and not like out there for it back then. So you did things a bit of a crazy way, a bit of an old school way. And through from 11 all the way through my teenage years, I boxed in the amateurs. It was always making weight, which was really difficult. And again, I don't think that particularly helped with my relationship with food growing up. I certainly don't think it helped with my mindset around nutrition either, because it was always feast or famine. It was always like on or off. So you're either training for a fight or you're not. So I think early doors, I probably developed a really poor relationship with food and nutrition, which, unbeknown to me, was probably leading me to a bit of a crap area later on in my life. But you don't see it back then. Of course you don't. Boxing, and you love it. You just get on with it. Anyway, I went through the amateurs, packed up with the amateurs, go through an age when you're younger, you get to a certain age, you find going out in town, you find drink and all the rest of it. So stopped amateur boxing and then got into my 20s, found boxing again and ended up turning professional, getting back into a boxing gym, turning professional. Was I like 22 or 24? I can't remember now. Must have been 24. So turned professional. And then again, I gone straight back into, professional boxing and it was weight making. When I first started professional boxing, I think I made 10 stone to start with. And then I moved down to 9 stone 9. Then I moved down to 9 stone 4. So each time I was getting lighter and lighter. And again, you don't see it at the time. It's nobody's fault, really. So it's not kind of really boxing's fault to a degree, but you don't know it. But again, you're working in an area of nutrition that you don't really understand. You're just told you've got to make set weight, and you don't really get a plan of how to do that. Again, back when I was playing, it wasn't what there is now in terms of performance nutrition and weight making nutrition. So you go and do what you think is right, and it very much wasn't right what I was doing, because again, I was creating myself further bad habits. I was creating myself further bad and poor relationship with food, to a point where I was just doing ridiculous things to make weight, like really, really stupid things to make weight. Like cutting out food completely, really, to make weight, and just doing stupid things. And again, building bad mindsets, building bad relationships with nutrition and food. It's always difficult as a boxer. Like any professional will tell you that. Any weight making professional will say it's bloody miserable making weight, especially back when I was playing. There wasn't the information really out there. So I really struggled. Again, it's that mindset of you're either in camp and you're training hard and you're restrictive, or you're out of camp, you're not training and you're just eating what you want. It's very much a on or off mentality, a feast or famine, so to speak. So, and unbeknown to me at the time, it was just putting me in a really bad position where I actually retired from professional boxing. And that's when it all started to go wrong a little bit for me. When I retired from professional boxing, you suddenly go from the age of 11, I was always training. I was always in a position where I was training. I had to be at a certain weight, and someone's always watching you to a degree, keeping you adherence to what you need to be doing. Retired from professional boxing, it was like, no one really cares anymore. It's like, go and do what you want, mate. You're not boxing anymore. You're not going to make weight, so do what you like. And that's where I really started to struggle, because over those years, unknowingly, I've developed a really poor relationship with nutrition, just a poor relationship with food. It's in a really bad place. I used to foods that's good and bad. Chocolate bar, I'll be like, of course, really bad. And if I was eating clean, I'll be happy with myself. And again, totally the wrong mindset. So when I retired from professional boxing, I found it really, really difficult. And again, I ended up doing like really stupid things. I put a lot of weight on after I finished professional boxing. And it was because it was like, I'm not training, I can just eat what I want. And there's no stop tap there to go, right, you've had enough. You're just eating like an idiot. So, but I didn't understand. I didn't know what I needed to do to pull myself out of that. And the mad thing about it was, I was a qualified personal trainer. So you would think you should know what you're doing, but you don't, because the nutrition qualifications in PT and just generally in the industry are pretty crap. I was just in a bad position, and I ended up with some really stupid things with my food. I hated how I looked, like really disliked it. It took me a long time to learn how to eat again, a massively long time to learn how to eat again properly, and to develop a good relationship with food and nutrition, and ultimately to be in fairly good shape all year round. And this is probably what led me to where I am now with nutrition and becoming a nutritionist. I developed such a thirst for knowledge around nutrition. How do you make weight properly? How do you lose body fat properly and stay in shape? How do these people do it? Which again led me to where I am now, because I see a lot of similar traits in them that as I did in me when I was professional, because I didn't have a clue about nutrition. I used to stress about it. I would fluctuate in weight. I'd either be on or off, feast or famine, and just not be happy with my body shape at all. I was completely confused. And I get such a passion of wanting to help that because I know how to help it. Ultimately, giving them control back of their nutrition, giving them their life back, because nutrition absolutely control people. People's body shape can absolutely control how they feel about themselves. I see the similarities there, and I know what they're going through. I know what they're feeling, and I know how to fix it with them. So that's my journey to nutrition. It came from a place of just being shit at it, really. And that leads me to where I am now, helping real people to gain back control of their nutrition, feel good about themselves, and create a life where they don't have to worry about nutrition. They always feel good with their body composition.